Thank you very much, Dr. Nile. That was a long journey covering ethics, Satyanishta, in different forms, patterns, and say what you like. It covered everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
I now request Mr. Prabhat Kumar to take his session. Thank you.
Friends, I'm speaking to you from a distance. Usually, in such programs, when I speak to participants, I stand very close to them. Because then I can look at their faces, I can look into your eyes. And the same thing, the participants can look at me. Can you hear me? आपको सुनाई पड़ रहा है? ठीक है. So it's a strange experience for me to be speaking from a higher ground. But anyway, it can't be helped. I would have liked to be there, but it's very difficult. It is very difficult, and I think very easy also, to speak after a speaker like Dr. Nile. He has cast a spell on each one of us. जैसे जादू होता है ना, जादू की तरह. He is a great speaker. So, I will have to make an attempt to take you out of this spell. As your chairman said in the beginning, that each one of the speakers here will give his own perception of Satyanishta, own perception of ethics. So I'll try to give my perception. And I hope that we can share that perception. Indian Railways is a great organization. You all belong to it. It's highly professional. Its underlying philosophy is for productivity, quality, and efficiency. But have you seen ethics written there? Have you seen in your vision, in your philosophy, in your programs, anywhere where ethics is written? I tried to find out and I didn't succeed. And therefore, I think this is a great moment that we are sharing today, talking of ethics, talking of Satyanishta. Just feel this moment. It's rarely that we talk to ourselves. As your chairman said, it's rarely that we talk of these fundamental issues. This is a fundamental issue. I ask you a question. How many of you think that you are largely unethical in your personal life and in your working? बताइए. Largely unethical. हाथ उठा दीजिए. 1, 2, 3. Very good. 3 of you think that you have been largely unethical in your dealings in public life, in your personal life. How many of you think that you have been largely ethical. Largely ethical. Please raise your hands. A number of hands have gone up. This shows that there are many of you who are confused. They don't know whether they are largely unethical or they are largely ethical. I think let's talk of what is ethics. देखिए, ये जो हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं, ये एक तरफा नहीं है. This is not a one-way process. Please. And therefore, if I ask you something, please. तो ये बताइए कि ethics क्या है? सत्यनिष्ठा है क्या? Anybody? What do you think of ethics? Yes, please. Behavioral aspect, how we treat others. Very good. Any other definition? Certain set of ethical principles that you follow. Very good. Good, good. Now you're coming out. और बताइए, आप तो बताइए. No? ये देखिए चेयरमैन साहब इतनी पढ़े लिखे, इतनी बड़े बड़े पदों पे काम करने वाले, और आप भी निकालिए. This is an open forum. This is not your office. This is not your boss's chamber. Come out. Whatever you think. Yes, madam.
को तक ले जा सकते हैं, एक मनुष्य से दूसरे मनुष्य तक. इसीलिए जो रामचंद्र थे, वो मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम कहलाए गए अपने विचार से. तो उनके एथिक्स ऐसे थे कि उनको पूरी दुनिया ने, पूरी सृष्टि ने एक मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम के नाम से उनको नाम दिया गया.
मतलब एक एग्जाम्पल,
विचार, एग्जाम्पल. यस सर.
Yes. Good. Now I tell you, there was a small child who was drawing something on a piece of paper. Her father asked her, "What are you drawing? क्या बना रही हो?" And she said, "I am drawing a sketch of God." The father said, "But we don't know, darling, we don't know what God looks like." And she said, "Very soon you will. Very soon you will." This is ethics. What is ethics? You don't know what exactly is ethics for you in a particular situation. So let us find out. You see, if you go to the internet and try to find the definition of ethics, you'll find innumerable definitions. Ethics has been seen by different learned people in different ways. I'll give you 2 or 3 grand principles of ethics, grand theories of ethics. The first was propounded by a philosopher called Immanuel Kant. In the 18th century, he said that, जैसे आपने कहा ना वहां पर, that ethics is following some laid down principles which have been laid down either in your religious books or by the society. Categorical imperatives. So it is following those principles. In the 19th century came another philosopher called J.S. Mill, John Stuart Mill, the British philosopher, and he said, no, ethics is doing the greatest good for the greatest number of people. Bahujan hitaya. Now the two definitions are diametrically opposite to each other. एक कहता है कि जो लिखा हुआ है उसको तुम फॉलो करो, चाहे वो कुरान में हो, बाइबल में हो, गीता में हो, उपनिषद में हो, उसको फॉलो करो. दूसरा कहता है नहीं, जो ज्यादातर लोगों के लिए भला हो वो करो. Gandhi ji said something else. He said, when you are asked to take a decision, think of the face of the poorest man and see whether whatever you're going to decide is good for him. So there are various interpretations, various definitions. I think you and I will have to decide for ourselves that in our situation, what is ethics? है क्या? अगर हम सत्यनिष्ठा समझेंगे ही नहीं तो फिर सत्यनिष्ठा का प्रैक्टिस नहीं कर पाएंगे. फिर सोचिए, आप कुछ कह रही थी जी. ओन कन्विक्शन, वेरी गुड. देखिए, फॉलोइंग द कॉन्शियंस, योर कॉन्शियंस, वेरी गुड. नाउ वी आर कमिंग टू इट, वेरी क्लोज. यस सर. आत्मग्लानि ना हो. You mean to say that which leaves you at peace with yourself. Very good. अपने आप को ईमानदार. अपने आप से ईमानदारी बहुत बड़ी बात है. बैठिए, बहुत अच्छी बात है.
सर, खुद को पहले खुद से भी कुछ पहले खुद को अगर हम चेंज करेंगे, खुद के ऊपर वर्क करेंगे, तभी हम इम्पैक्ट अपने साथ में, अपने आसपास, अपने समाज को या सोसाइटी को दे पाएंगे. सबसे पहले जरूरी है खुद को एक्सेप्ट करना इस चीज को कि अगर मेरे में कुछ गलती है तो मेरे को अपनी गलती का सबसे ज्यादा एहसास है, बल्कि कोई और नहीं मुझे बता सकता. उस बात को रियलाइज करना और एक्सेप्ट करना.
बहुत अच्छा. वही आपके चेयरमैन साहब ने कहा, इंट्रोस्पेक्शन कीजिए, जो आपकी कॉन्शियंस कहे वो कीजिए. बहुत अच्छी बात हो गई. तो अब हम लोगों ने एक डेफिनेशन तय कर ली. वो ये है कि जो हम समझते हैं कि क्या सही है और क्या गलत है, वो हम सही पे चलें. Which means to choose the right between right and wrong. Between right and wrong, we choose the right. Doing what is right is ethics. I think this is a grand definition. Doing what is right is ethics. The only thing is, it raises another question. And the question is, what is right? What is right? Whether what your boss says is right, whether the rules, what they say is right, whether Gita says that is right, whether your wife, your husband says. What is right? There are so many things. In a meeting, something is decided, is that right? There's a story. Have you heard of a person called Mullah Nasruddin? Suna hai? He was a great chap. Mullah Nasruddin was known as the wisest man in the village. And anybody who had a problem would go to him. So once two villagers, neighbors, they came to him and they said that they had a dispute over a piece of land. Each one claimed that the piece of land was his. So they said that please resolve this issue. Mullah said, all right, now one of you go out, let me hear one person at a time. So he heard the first person, gave his own version of things, how he claimed. After hearing him, Mullah said, yes, you are right. Then he sent him away. The second man came and he gave his side of the picture. After hearing him, Mullah said, yes, you are right. He also went away, both of them happy. Mullah's wife was sitting there and she saw this whole thing. And she said, Mullah, what have you done? It is not possible that both of them are right. And Mullah said, yes, you are right. It's a short story, but with a very sharp point. The sharp point is that there can be more than one rights, which is a fact. I mean, there's no absolute truth. If anybody of you believes that there's anything like absolute truth or absolute right, please think again. When Zarathustra was asked as to what was the way to God, Zarathustra said, "This is my way." What is your way? Because there is no the way, there is no absolute way. What I think is my way. So it's very clear that there may be different rights, different truths, but my truth is my truth. What I think is right is right. What I think is right is right. Simple. It might look arbitrary. That, a corrupt person may think that what I am doing is right. A thief may think that stealing is right. How you can't leave it like this? This is highly arbitrary. It is not. It is not. Because evolutionary biology says that within each one of us, inside each one of us, there is a sensory equipment. Scientific fact. There is a sensory equipment which tells us what is right, which tells us what is precisely the truth, the reality, in every situation. That's what the chairman said, the conscience. It tells you exactly what is right. But when this information reaches your active brain, it is mixed with so many other considerations. What the boss wants, what the minister wants, what is good for my promotion, what is good for a better placement. I want to build a house. You see, all these considerations, they enter. And the information which comes from the equipment, it is distorted. That is why we indulge in doing things which we think are right. Think. It happens to all of us. Everybody. And that is why, just a moment, and that is why I say that doing what is right according to you is ethics. Not doing, knowing that this is right and not doing it is unethical. Yes, please. Quite right.
And in addition, if he can stand on a podium like this in front of the audience and can say with pride, this is what I think, this is what I did, and I'm proud of it. If he can say it, he is right.
Very good. Very good. I call it by a different name. जो आपने कहा बिल्कुल सही. इसको मैं कहता हूं प्रामाणिकता, authenticity. Are you authentic? What you hold yourself to be to others, are you that? And not only that, what you hold yourself to yourself, जो आप अपने के लिए बनते हैं, क्या आप वो हैं? Are you authentic about your shortcomings? Are you authentic about your weaknesses? Are you authentic about your inauthenticities? Authenticity, बड़ी अच्छी बात कही आपने. है, बिल्कुल सही. I don't want to prolong this discussion. I just want to be on the subject. Now, I want to introduce a new thing, which of course Dr. Neely also said, that in our life, we live in different frames. We move from one frame to the other. all the time. There's a frame which is the home, the family. There's a frame of your office. This is a frame. A sports ground is a frame. A theater is a frame. A clubhouse is a frame. A marketplace is a frame. Now just think that do you behave the same way in all these frames? No. Because in every frame, they have got their own protocol. The family has its own protocol. If you are a father, you will behave like this. In the office, it's a different frame, and there's a protocol. So in each frame, you follow the protocol of that particular frame. Do you agree with me? No, if you have any questions, please. Our behavior changes, our conduct changes with different frames. And we make it sure that we don't mix the frames. For example, you go to a restaurant with your spouse, have a hearty meal, and while leaving, you hug the manager and say, "Thank you, that was a lovely meal," and leave. What happens? It's disaster. If you go to a friend's house with your spouse, have a hearty meal there, and while leaving, you give a 1,000 rupee note to your friend. Greater disaster. You are mixing frames. The way you should behave in one place, you are behaving in the other place. This is mixing the frames. And therefore, I say that frames are very important in life. There was a violinist, a 39-year-old violinist who played in a metro station in Washington. This was a controlled experiment. What I am saying, all these are true stories. So this fellow, in a jeans and t-shirt, he sat there, put the violin frame on this thing, and started playing. He played compositions from Tchaikovsky, from Beethoven, from Brahms. For 43 minutes he played those. And it was a controlled experiment of Washington Post. And at the end of those 43 minutes, people were coming, going. There were very few people who stood there for a little while, but they are just coming, going, talking on their mobiles. At the end of 43 minutes, he earned $32, which was 75 cents for every minute. The same violinist, name is Joshua Bell, the greatest violinist of our time. He played in the evening, he played in an opera house. 43 minutes, the same compositions, the same violin, $3.5 million violin. There was not a place to stand on the galleys. Everybody heard him with rapt attention. He earned $50,000 in those 43 minutes. What? The same thing, the same person, he played the same thing. What made the difference? The frame, the context. And that is why I say context is decisive. Not only in ethics, but context is decisive everywhere. I'll show you a slide. Nandita, can we have that slide? Context is decisive, it decides everything. Context changes you. Do you agree?
In my office, in my house, with the friends, even if I go into a restaurant.
You have to be truthful. It fits in all the frames. So there will be some universal truths which fit all frames.
Absolutely. I mean, universal truth may be there. We are talking of ethics. We are talking of our behavioral pattern. Now look at this. See this passage. What does it say? A newspaper is better than a magazine. A seashore is a better place than a street. At first, it is better to run than to walk. You may have to try several times. It takes some skill, but it's easy to learn. What is it? What is we talking about? Anybody who can make any sense of this? Formation of habit. In this, a newspaper is better than a magazine.
Because magazine, no, I make what I'm saying. It's how do you form habits? You start with the newspaper, and like running, it's better to run than to walk. Like it's how do you form your good habits? I make out this. Maybe you don't agree with it.
Perceptions, viewpoints. Rain, however, soaks in very fast. Too many people doing the same thing can also cause problems. One needs a lot of room. A rock will serve as an anchor. If things break loose from it, however, you will not get a second chance. Now, every sentence makes sense. आप जो कह रही है ना बिल्कुल every sentence makes sense, but together does it make sense? नहीं है ना, नहीं है तो बताइए कि हाँ नहीं, there is no this thing. ठीक है, चलिए दूसरी स्लाइड लगा दीजिए. I'm just trying to say that context is decisive. You may not agree, but I'm just trying to give my viewpoint. And look at this, the same passage, the same 14 sentences. There's a context. Does it make sense? Everything makes sense. Every sentence is now compact. Everything is there. Why? Because the context is given. Without the context, the same thing was meaningless. I'm just trying to say that context, the frame is very important in life. And therefore, when we talk of ethics, I would say, this is my proposition, that ethics is contextual. आप कह रहे हैं ना absolute, वो अपनी जगह है. But when we talk of ethics of public service, when we talk of ethics in railways, Indian railways, I think it is highly contextual. Depends on the context. And the context is Indian railways. The context today, our context is public service. The context is public governance. This is the context, large context. Every profession has its own ethics. आपने कहा, the medical profession, they have on their own ethics. The engineering profession, they have got their own ethics. Media has got its own ethics. So ethics of a profession, your profession is railwayman, ethics of a profession follows the logic of that profession. आर्मी का लॉजिक, आप कहेंगे किसी को मारना बहुत ही खराब बात है, आप कह रहे हैं ना, एब्सोल्यूट बात है, हम किसी को गोली क्यों मारें? See the logic of the defense forces, that's different. And therefore I say that ethics of a profession follows the logic of that profession. What is the logic of Indian Railways? Let's go to the logic of Indian Railways. How much time do we have? Oh, हम कुछ बात नहीं कर सकते, 10 मिनट रह गया. कोई बात नहीं. So, what is the logic of Indian Railways? The logic of Indian Railways, as given in your website on your 2030 National Rail Plan, that is your Bible now, I suppose. There's a vision. And what is that vision? Interesting. आप लोगों ने देखा नहीं होगा, कौन देखता है? क्या रेल प्लान क्या है 2030 का? जिसने बनाया होगा उसने किया होगा. That's it. मैं वही कह रहा हूँ सर, मैं वही कह रहा हूँ कि आप जरा देखो तो, ये इंट्रोस्पेक्शन की बात की, इंट्रोस्पेक्शन करो, उसमें क्या लिखा है? The vision is to make Indian Railways economically competitive rail transport system. Mark my words. Economically competitive rail transport system. And the second thing is to promote economic growth. These are the two main points in your vision. I say you missed the point. The whole thing, why Indian Railways exists. What is the core function of Indian Railways? क्या है? देखिए, आप भी वहीं रह गए. और what are you doing? Come on, yes. What are you doing? You are serving millions of people every day. That is your logic. Your logic is you are serving the people. That's your core function. Please think about it. Everything else, running the trains on time, keeping the platforms clean, doing all these facilities in the trains, all those things are there. But what is the logic? Why are you doing it? To serve the people. To serve the people of the country. I came in contact with Indian Railways when I didn't come in contact with the school. I traveled on Indian trains. My father, my grandfather, they traveled on Indian trains. We have great association with Indian Railways. That's the logic. The logic is service to the people. And therefore, my request is, Chairman Sahab, that please introduce this in your vision. Everything that you are doing for this. Please say explicitly, please say that we are serving people and we want to serve the people better. In the end, I will just say that each one of you is the face of Indian Railways to the people. In the perception of larger people, each one of you is the face of Indian Railways. What you do or what you don't do impacts on the image of Indian Railways. Leadership doesn't come with the higher office. Leadership doesn't come with the saloon. Leadership doesn't come with perks. Leadership doesn't come with a large office, with a swanky staff card. No. I have seen people in high authority who are obeyed. They are obeyed. You obey them. You don't follow them. They are not leaders. They are absolutely not leaders. And I have seen people down in the hierarchical ladder who are absolute leaders. There is a lowly municipal engineer in Belgaum. What he did was, it's chronically suffers with water shortage, Belgaum. What he did was, one hot summer, what he did was that he cleaned up all the dry wells in the city. पुराने जो थे, कभी यूज नहीं हुए, उन्होंने कहा ये सब साफ करो. Sorry. And the water table rose. Absolute. This is true. This is true. We gave him an award. There's a clerk, Muhammad Salim, in Mallapuram district in Kerala. He has written on his table, there's a placard. The government pays me 810 rupees per day for doing my job. Please don't offer me any bribe. Ask me what I can do for you. He covers me. And every time he gets an increment, he changes that figure, 810. In fact, now what I'm saying is that you may be anywhere in the hierarchical ladder, you are a leader. Each one of you is a leader. Leadership comes with taking care of person on your left and taking care of persons on your right. That is leadership. So thank you very much. I will only in the end urge you, each one of you, to please put your brain in the Indian Railways and put your heart in the service of the people. Thank you.